everybody.
I'm back.
A little bit of a late start today, but how are we doing? Welcome back to D-Win. And we've got a great topic, I think, because there's a lot of what we call overlooked opportunities when it comes to recall. And Jamil and I actually were talking about an hour or two ago, and he came up with a kind of a great way to describe why this is such a great opportunity. But let's do our hype video real quick. Sandy, we'll let you introduce. How's your connection today, Sandy?
I'm hoping it's good, buddy. I'm on the road. I was up visiting our man, Mr. Paul Lynch and company at his new dealership, Ford of Latham. And let me just say this to you, fellas. I'm wearing the cold weather gear, and I'm flying the Infinity logo for Sandy Cerami because it was like 24 degrees and snowing today.
That's good. We're just glad you paid your internet bill this week so we could hear you.
It's the mobile bill we got to worry about. I'm on the road now. And
All right, let me do our D-Win recap from last week real quick, and then we'll introduce Vincent. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's get this show on the road, everybody. Welcome to D-Win. First off, this is a discussion amongst dealers, general managers, service managers, marketing managers. We want a lot of interaction, a lot of Q&A. We've done the show a lot, and we've repeatedly said, listen, just because COVID ends at some point, it doesn't mean that the customer experience or the processes you put in place to make things more convenient and effortless, the customer's expectations aren't going to go back to the way they were. They're going to sit there. For me as a consumer, I'm saying, well, if you could do it then, why can't you do it now?
COVID pushed us into where we needed to be. And I think that, with fixed ops, a lot of times, no offense to dealers, but sometimes we don't need to spend that on the fixed ops department. It's making you money anyways, right? It's working this way. I don't want to spend an extra $500,000-$600,000. What it did is pushed us into just what Daryl said, into the digital age, and we improved customer satisfaction. And the reason why, can you imagine? Remember in March when we were calling every recall, we were calling our neighbors, we were calling our cousins, come on down. We are desperate. And what do? We got better.
If you really look at it, consumers have a lot of digital control of pretty much any transaction they want to make. A haircut, groceries, food at the curb, but you got to, in our world, we consult with, thousands of dealers monthly. And you got to ask yourself why is the service department immune to a digital experience when we adopted this experience in sales? Starting in the late 90s, 70% of consumers that experience pickup and delivery, they want to do it again. And they want that to be part of their experience going forward.
I think that's a monster opportunity.
I like how at the end of the video, Sydney always makes sure that we hear Sandy's comment about, I think that's a monster opportunity. How we close it out?
That's my buddy, Sydney.
We know who the videographer's favorite friend is.
So, Sandy, do you want to introduce Vincent? Are you able to do that from your car?
No,
We got it. There you go. All right, Jamil, we'll let you introduce Vincent. There's a lot of opportunities we're going to talk about today. And you had brought up a great thing, Jamil, about recalls specifically. It's the one piece of marketing that when the customer responds, you're almost guaranteed to produce revenue to 100% of the people that reply. So it's a great opportunity if it's done right. But a lot of times we get comments and things that you'll hear dealers talk about and service managers talk about. There's a lot of challenges that can come from it, a lot of things that can be frustrating. And of course, sometimes consumers can be callous to some of the recall notifications as well. So we'll bring Sandy back in as soon as he's comes back online with us. But go ahead, Jamil, introduce Vincent, and then we'll bring him in.
Oh, we got an exciting guest today, guys. We are going to talk recalls because right now with everybody's RO traffic down in their drives, they are looking for opportunities, and recall is one of the easiest. So on today, we have Vinny. Vinny is the service director at the Habberstad Auto Group. He oversees not only the BMW, but also the mini stores. He's going to join us and talk a little bit about kind of how he's been able to bring in more recall business.
There he is.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hey, Vinny.
Hey, Vinny. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We hope to learn a lot, and we know we will. So talk to us a little bit. What are let's talk initially with some of the struggles with recalls. So every dealer's got a story about how it could be improved in terms of the marketing. How do you attract these people, the things that go right and wrong? What are some of the things initially that are some of the biggest challenges dealers face when it comes to recall marketing and actually completing recalls?
So one of the first things that I've always looked at is, number one, parts availability, making sure that we can actually fix the car before I even put anything out there. Can I perform the recall? Once I know we can secure parts, then everything else is kind of takes over. As far as the marketing, the message, whatever I've always done, I've always stayed in line with the factory. As far as their verbiage goes, stick to it. But I'm going to go back to the pandemic months. So I heard it before, we're knocking on doors and trying to find business, and recalls was the first thing that I did. I had my BDC calling used car lots, and I was hiring valets when other places were furloughing them to go out, bring cars in. But recalls to me was free money. It always was. It just had to be marketed correctly. So, just put a plan together, and then you have to put it into execution.
You know what I love about that, Scott, is that Vinny was going against the current. Everybody was swimming upstream. He swam down and picked up huge opportunity by going against the masses.
Yep.
So Vinny, on DWIN, we've heard a lot of interesting ideas about recalls. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. Some dealers swear by just the BDC, just dial in the customers in terms of calling all these recall customers. Other dealerships have gone more digitally speaking in terms of reaching out to them Facebook. What have you seen to get the best results?
You have to have more than one avenue. I believe in digital. I've been on the digital kick for 10 years now. And I stopped with pretty much paper a long time ago. It's, first it was emails. Then we went from emails to text messages. But you have to kind of have all three going. You have to have email, some kind of social media presence as well. That has to be huge. BDC, making phone calls, following up on the messages that we sent out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just pounding the phones. And then following up on that. We had tried another vendor for a while that specialized in recalls. And then honestly, I figured out that we could actually do a better job. And we did. So like I said, I've always believed in recalls, but you really have to have more than one approach. You just can't mail something out and hope somebody answers the phone. You can't measure that. I like to be able to measure the result, making sure if I send out how many emails, how many people open the email. Digital is great because you can see how many people entertained it. Google, that's another way to do it. You have to have probably 5 different avenues, and I think they're all digital except for phone calls.
Absolutely. And what's nice about recalls, and for the audience, is it's the one time that you don't need an opt-in for text messaging either.
Correct.
It's interesting. Everyone probably knows that to text message somebody, you have to opt in or they have to opt in. With recalls, for the majority of them, they're safety notifications. Mm-hmm. You're able to send that text message out to the customer, alerting them of the recall, and then utilize your BDC or your advisors to be able to handle those calls. No, I love that. So on the digital marketing side, you brought some things up in terms of hitting them digitally. Are you guys taking that recall list and kind of uploading it to Facebook and to Google and targeting them one-to-one? Is that kind of how you guys are marketing to them?
That's difficult to do, as far as individually through those medias. but it's easy to do with email because
Mhm.
I can obtain that information right from BMW. I can go right on there. I do it every day. I look to see what recalls I even have in my inventory, how many cars are sitting on the lot before they're PDI'd, before they're delivered, to make sure that they're done. And then while I'm in there, I look to see if there's anything new out there as well. So we always circle back on those lists constantly. But the best source of information is, I think, for targeting anyway, is email, phone calls, text messages.
So Vinny, after this, I'm going to email you because within Facebook, we can take that same recall list and actually upload it and target one-to-one now.
Yes.
Through customer match that looks at email address, it looks at phone number and physical address. So that's definitely something that not only for you, but for the viewers, anybody can do. You know, as long as you have a Facebook business account, you just take it, download it in a CSV file, upload it. Facebook has typically 60, 65, 70% match rate. It's a fantastic way to do one-to-one marketing. Are you guys doing anything with the auctions, trying to find BMWs that are the auctions to get recalls or anything like that?
We tried to establish a relationship, probably more so during the pandemic months, because at that point we had to try everything. We did not close. We had we had other dealers in our market that closed for an entire month. We didn't miss a day, and we had to find ways to stay busy. And that was another one. Calling up auction houses, seeing what was there, if they would allow us onto the property. I had mobile technicians going out to houses even. So,
and so, Vinny, it sounds like, I want to catch us up on some of the comments here. It sounds like you might have answered Squire's question that we have up here. Do we have the OEM list of recalls? So you have easy access, at least through BMW and Mini, to get that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked for one other German Highline and another major domestic manufacturer. And from my experience, it's all readily available. The manufacturers make it readily available to the service guys. So.
And it looks like Mark is, and the reason I wanted to get in here is because what you were going on, where you were looking for all the different opportunities, especially back in March and April. Mark Duran is hitting on that as well. Used car lots, rental agencies, all these different opportunities to look for business.
Yep.
So Vinny, I know with BMW, and I want to answer Squire's comment too. BMW makes it, out of all the manufacturers, they're probably one of the easier ones to work with, that a dealership through their tool can pull all of the recall customers. But what's interesting is a lot of dealerships don't know this, and a lot of service managers, almost every manufacturer will give you that information if you just ask for it. I just worked with an Acura store. They had no idea that Acura would give them that data. They reached out to their zone manager. Boom, they had a list the next day. I worked with the Mercedes-Benz dealer 2 weeks ago. Same thing. They were like, I don't know, we can't pull this internally. Are we going to have to do this through our DMS? And I think you hit the nail on the head, Vinny, when you guys are struggling. These recall lists are the best conquest list ever.
I do. Absolutely are. Absolutely are. And, I've always looked at doing even recall events were fantastic because, like you said, it's almost a conquest piece. And you can invite customers into your dealership that you typically would never have seen before. So, which opens up a whole other avenue of business for you. One of the other things that we do too, before any customer comes in, whether it's through BDC, we verify all the appointments the day before. When a BDC agent makes an appointment, they run the VIN number, make sure that there are no recalls on it, because customers sometimes don't know. And we let them know if it is. So that's done before any car ever even gets to the building. So,
is there a quick way to do that, Vinny? I've had stores ask me that. You get a list of all these VINs to run it through. Is there a vendor out there, an application to run that against?
Well, BMW, I can upload VIN numbers, a block of them at a time, and then just run the DCSs. So.
Okay.
Hey, Vinny, real quick, on a more serious note, is there anybody in your opinion that's got a tougher job right now than Sandy Cerami?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you, I really like the hoodie. You know, is that a hoodie or is that like a fleece? I don't know.
Looks like a fleece. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to having one on in about 2 hours. So
He just froze on us. So
Yeah.
He doesn't get to defend himself. Go ahead, Jamil.
some profile right there.
Well, no, I heard you mention my name, and I know it was nothing flattering.
So one thing you said, Vinny, that I loved earlier is, you guys were signed up on a tool that was specific for recall. There's a few out there I think we can all kind of name, but you said you're doing it in-house. Tell me how you're doing that, because are you iframing that where you can check your VIN on your website? Walk me through that.
So if you go to our website, it's iframed in there. You can punch in your VIN, costs you nothing. If there's a recall on it, the customer can make an appointment right through it. It's pretty seamless. Our appointment system is real time. So if I have availability, it'll show the customers what are available, what days. And typically it's same day and or the next day.
So was that something that BMW allowed? Like, for instance, Chrysler is an example. They have a little iframe where you can check your VIN. Did the BMW allow you to have that code to iframe it in there, or is there a free tool out there?
You have to go through compliance. Anything that we do through our website needs to go through BMW compliance before we do it. So we play 100% by the rules.
I always wondered, I was like, why don't the manufacturers and BMW's ahead of the curve on this, why don't the manufacturers just give that as a free iframe for every dealer to put it on their website? So that's awesome.
So for all you OEM reps that are listening in right now and in the audience, there's a suggestion for you that would help out dealers, your customers, and yourselves. So,
absolutely.
There was I used to have an app, and one point in time, it's not working now. But there's a couple of apps out there that we all know the name Takata. Takata had actually created the app where you can just scan a license plate and it would tell you if there was a recall on that car within seconds. So I found myself on Sundays while I'm at the club with my wife going food shopping, and I'm walking through the parking lot scanning license plates, looking for recalls on cars. So whatever it takes.
No,
That's the New Yorker in you, Vinny. I love it.
Listen, I've always said you have to respect the hustle.
Well, we've had a couple, Vinny, we've had a couple service directors on here that, they while they're doing mobile service, they're stopping at used car lots, some of the biggest used car lots, and scanning, whether it's the BMWs, the Fords, to figure out if there's recalls. Obviously linking up with Manheim, these auction houses, to be able to come there. If it's open day on Wednesday, going in on there Monday, Tuesday with your mobile van, fixing all those. So that's great that you guys were doing it. And I agree with Sandy. I mean, you guys really pivoted during a time that a lot of people were closing up shop.
One of the other things that we did, we found a national pre-owned company that pumps a lot of pre-owned cars into the market. National company, you could turn TV on and find one of their commercials. And we established a relationship. We started noticing these cars coming in with the plate frames. I start peeling the layer of the onion away. I find out where the cars are coming from, track it down to the warehouse where they're checking the cars, and I get in touch with the manager who runs the place. So him and I became very good friends because just like myself, he was showing up to work every day in March, April, May, never closed. And we were sending a mobile technician to his shop. Anytime a customer bought a BMW through their program, he would send us the VIN number. We would run it. If it had a recall on it, we sent the technician over there.
I love the grassroots effort of that, and just talk about overlooked opportunities. Every dealer's got businesses that surround them where there's opportunities and they overlook them, or maybe just don't put out the, I don't want to say put out the effort, but maybe not think about it because it's not in the norm, right? And so I love that.
You always have to be thinking. It just because it's not going to come to you.
No.
So, hey, Vinny, one thing that I wanted to ask you a little bit about is every conversation that I'm having a lot right now with dealers, especially in January in the service department. I don't know if this is the case with you, but we're starting to see a slowdown, right? And a lot of it's because the miles that customers are putting on aren't the same that they were doing in previous years because a lot of people are working from home. Have you guys seen that? And kind of, if you have, what are you all doing to kind of contradict that?
Yeah, service traffic has been off. We've been trending in the right direction, and I started measuring it as we came out of the pandemic months. And month over month, we've shown consistent improvement, getting back to where we were, let's say, a year ago this time. But right now, it's those little things like the recalls that people always overlook. Maybe using social media a little more. There's just we're doing whatever we can. Right down to we used to do service clinics, so we can't have too many people in the dealership anymore. So now, how do you do a service clinic without having people in place anymore? Well, Facebook has a wonderful opportunity where you can do Facebook Live and hit a bigger audience than inviting 7 or 8 people into the dealership. You can, entertain as many as you want at the same time without leaving the store. So,
have you done one of those yet? I know Ken told me that you were thinking about doing that.
Yes, I'm actually in the process of trying to put the right people in the dealership together to make sure that they're comfortable doing it. And then we have to just come up with an invite list, which is probably pretty easy to do. So
very cool. Now, are you guys mowing through?
Wait a minute, Jamil. Wait a minute. It's never easy, Vinny. Don't come on here on the marketing.
Well, it's never easy.
Don't try this at home, gentlemen. Don't try it at home.
Yeah. Coming up with a list is probably the easiest part of it. Coming up with, topics of discussion. The way of doing business had to change. It really had to change, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. One thing I like about recalls is, and I'm curious, and I don't want to get too far off topic here, but it's a little bit. Because of COVID and people not driving their cars as much, right? Our owner loyalty programs, it's obviously not going to be as easy for companies to be able to predict when a car might be due for service because the way they do that is from the frequency of visits, and they're able to track the mileage, right? Well, now all of a sudden the mileage is completely different for every single person. It blows up that algorithm a little bit. And so what are you guys doing to kind of count? That's one thing I like about recalls. It's because it's marketing that I know is extremely relevant right now.
Right.
What are you doing to kind of offset, or are you making any adjustments on the owner loyalty side because of that situation?
Well, BMW's maintenance schedule is not like a domestic's. It's very different. Typically, for most customers, it's once a year or every 10,000 miles. But like you said, cars are sitting. I have a brother and a sister-in-law. They're both in the financial business. They haven't left their dining room in a year. They're working from home. My brother's doing mortgages from his kitchen. And that's a lot of our clients. So what happens is, just like you said, a year goes by, but there's only 5,000 miles on it. But that's okay because it's time or mileage. And that's the big part of it, is overcoming people's perception as well. My car doesn't have enough miles on it yet. Well, you're right. But it's time or mileage. And it's kind of just re-educating a little bit. It's amazing how many people still think, well, my car is due every 5,000 miles. No, not anymore. It's 1 year or 10,000. But you got to key on that time more than the mileage now. So,
hey, Vinny, you said that was your brother-in-law?
My brother.
Your brother. All right. So your brother sounds like Scott Joseph. This is the first time he's been on our office since Christmas. Okay. And he's laughing because he knows it's true. He knows it's true.
There is plenty of people that have seen the Ric Flair picture and the stuff behind me.
I don't think it's Christmas. This man's service intervals are all out of whack, buddy. Hey, Scott, we got a good comment from Mark. You're on.
Yeah, I'll put that. It's going to cover all of us because it's got a lot. But thank you, Mark. Hold on here. Let me get it up. And I'll come back to Squire's question that he's got here because he's got a good question. So there's Mark. So daily 10 at 10 meetings, 10 minutes at 10 a.m. every day. It's the huddle before the play, allows maximization of hours sold, client satisfaction, no surprises on recalls after car dropped off, better loaner utilization, work order preparation meeting that takes place 2 days in advance using printed pre-write orders. This is a meeting expressly for reviewing upcoming work where it is reviewed and necessary preparations are documented. Hours booked against inventory hours for, and then he cut off on us. Go ahead. That's what you were referring to, right, Jamil?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was going to tell everybody, because, I do a lot of marketing for recall. And I know with BMW, FCA, and a lot of other manufacturers, one thing that a lot of happens is when they send the list over, it's from multiple data sources. It might be Experian data, it might be IHS data, it might be their own in-house CRM that they're pulling from dealers' inventory, from dealers' DMS. So when it comes over in a file, there's sometimes 3 to 4 phone numbers because each data source has a different phone number for that customer. There's sometimes a different emails for the same customer. One thing that we've done very, very well that's worked out for us is we email to all because there's no way to know which email address is most accurate. You have no idea which is their actual phone number because people went from a landline, gave a cell phone, switched to cell phone a year later. And we've seen great success with it because the reality is if you don't know, email, you're talking fractions of a penny, text messages are just a few pennies. It's definitely worth it. Squire says, Mark Jerome, that was intense. Do you do any daily huddles or anything like that, Vinny?
So he waits till 10 o'clock in the morning. So he's, I guess he's a little nicer than I am. I have my team usually huddling up at 6:40 every morning. So, and one of the things is that, I'm a big sports fan and I've played plenty of sports and, you have to have a playbook every single day. And it sounds like what Mark does.
One reason that he does it at 10 is because 10 at 10 sounds better than 6:45 at 6:45.
That's how he sells it.
Okay.
That's the buy-in. That's the buy-in. So, it's good. I've been doing it that way for years. The 6:40, 6:45 huddle up meeting. We'll hit on pretty much kind of what Mark just said. We review the opportunities coming in that day. We'll review appointments, make sure that everything is in place. Sometimes we'll do a little role play in our service drive, how we're going to do things today.
Yeah.
But, and then of course, we pass out our daily trackers, talk about our numbers, our challenges from the day before and what we're going to do differently today. So.
That's great. Mark's always a good contributor on here. He's got great input. So it's good to see you guys. He's probably happy you're doing that. He doesn't care about the time. But Squire's got a good question I wanted to come back to. So he says, since we're on recalls, he's asking upsell maintenance and repairs or don't upsell maintenance and repairs when they're coming in for the repair, for when they're coming in.
I love you, Squire. Attaboy. That's what we got to be thinking about, Vinny.
So the question is, do we make the recommendations or do we not?
Correct.
I believe that you have to. I think you're obligated to tell a customer that their vehicle is in great condition or it needs repair. I've always looked at it like every car on a lift is somebody's life, and whether it's 10 years old or 10 months old, we have to make sure that we're letting customers know that their BMWs or their Minis are in good operating condition. And if they're not, sometimes we have to have that conversation as well. But and I think it's a special tool for someone that's never been in a dealership before to build that relationship and rapport with people when you present the 32 inspection to a customer.
Yeah.
Vinny, I can't agree more. I was actually talking to a certain manufacturer and we were talking about recall marketing and they were saying, well, we're paying for this. We don't want our dealers upselling. And to your point, it's not an upsell. You're informing them of a safety concern, right? So I got my Lexus recall completed, and about 2 weeks later, I noticed my tires were bald, and I was pissed that they didn't say anything while I was in there. You know, for the exact same reason, you need to get your safety recall. Have driving around with bald tires is a safety concern as well.
Well, a couple points to that, Jamil. First off, kudos to J&L that you're able to drive the Lexus, but
It was an older model, high mileage. We're going to throw that out there.
But the real question is, how does a person drive around on bald tires and not know that they need to be replaced?
It's one of these things that you don't always look at, and I'm in the industry. It's just something that you don't look at. When you drive demos all the time, Scott, like you do, you never have to worry about tires.
Well, listen, while you two are bickering, I'm going to actually ask the follow-up question to Squire's point. And so, Vinny, what I'm curious to know is, are you tracking customer pay dollars on each one of these recalls so that you can determine whether or not you're effectively doing a good job in the service drive? By having data points telling you where you are in CP labor and CP parts.
So one of the things that I learned from working with, let's talk about J&L for a second, right, is when we do a recall event, phenomenal. Every tool is there. And like I said, I love to be able to measure the result.
We're we don't allow plugging, Vinny, but we're gonna give you we got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes to stop this.
Excellent.
There you go.
Keep going. I'll keep going. Good.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So, but really, it allows you to track exactly what happened with those customers that came in your doors, and whether they spent, whether they did not. But now you also have a list of anybody that did not spend, any declines, and you can follow up on those.
Yeah.
So you always have to be doing something. The other thing that we tied into our service business, which I think helped tremendously with, let's talk about a customer with a recall, technician videos. Carries so much weight, especially when we have customers no longer coming in the door. We have a technician doing a minute video on a car, introducing themselves as a technician working on the car, and real simple, like everybody else. A lot of people sitting at home and they get a video on their phone from the technician letting them know the condition of their car. So imagine that happening for the first time with a customer, never in a dealership before, there for a recall, and you're getting a text message from the technician, within minutes of the car going into the bay, letting you know the condition of the car.
Yeah. So I love the video talk. I was talking with Jamil earlier today. Are you on Clubhouse, Vinny?
No.
All right. So I've been in a lot of rooms here in the last week and a half, and video and all the different applications that people are how they're using it. It's probably been the number one topic when I'm in the car dealer room. And so I'd love to hear that, because most people focus on the sales side with this, right? But you're bringing it in on the fixed side. So I love that. It's great.
So, hey,
well, I think, Vinny, I love the fact that you can showcase technology and how you can use it to leverage making the customer experience even more convenient and provide them, I think, better value in terms of sharing information in a visual way, which is easier for them to digest. I think it validates tech recommendations really effectively. I have another question. Are you guys tracking any campaign goal?
Hold on. Hey, Sandy, you're breaking up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead. Okay. You looks like you came back. I was worried that your advance payment on your internet bill, your minutes had expired, but it looks like you're okay now.
It's the burner phone. It's the burner phone. I'm using the burner phone.
Right. I'm just
curious if Vinny is tracking any leads that they generate for the front end of the business.
Are we tracking leads from the front end of the business for?
No, in other words, if somebody comes in with for a recall, and
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to show them a new vehicle, are you tracking that as well? I just love tracking what the return on the investment is across the board in the dealership.
So do we push into the CRM for the sales side? Is that more of the question?
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
So when BDC does that, they input it in. Yes.
So if all of a sudden you've got a guy coming in for a recall or a person coming in for a recall and they show interest in it, your BDC is making sure that's logged properly in
Yes.
the system. So you're able to.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what, everything gets merged into the sales CRM side as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, you brought up these technician videos. Is that just a video that you take on your phone, or is there an app or a company that you use for that?
There is a company that provides the service. They've been in business with us. I've had a partnership with them for years, and I wouldn't do business any other way. It's started off as a payment solution, then it went to texting, then introduced technician video. Then about 6 months ago, we had the ability, part of our process in our service drive, when you come in, we scan everybody's tires and you get a condition report on your tires. That condition report also pushes through the same system that you get the video for. So it's pretty well rounded.
Not that the manufacturer would like this, but dealers are always looking for BMW owners that are not in their database to send sales offers to. You could take that recall list and dedupe it against your DMS and market to those customers as well. and you have the agencies out there that won't charge you a per name cost because they're not going to have to go to Axiom or IHS and buy that data now.
Are you writing that down, Vinny? Did you say something, Jamil?
I said, what were you about to say, buddy? It was either you or Sandy was about to say something.
No, I said, I just was asking Vinny, did you write that down?
I got it.
Okay.
I'm texting it right now.
No, I mean, I always wonder too, you take that same and maybe the recall offer doesn't appeal to them, but now on your next service mailer, email marketing that you're doing offers. And then when they come in for that offer, you can get the recall repaired as well. It's a great source for new data because data is expensive. I mean, IHS, Axiom, they're going to charge 5-10 cents a name. If you're getting it free from the manufacturer, they've already paid for it from Experian, Axiom, IHS. Why not do that?
Yeah, and you just need to know where to find it. Like I said, the other manufacturers that I've worked for, it's there. You just need to know where to find it.
Yeah.
So.
Mariah, I have no plans of ever driving or living the Pontiac life. That died a long time ago.
Now you're talking. Oh, we lost Sandy. All right. Jamil, you got any more?
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked a little bit about digital marketing. We brought up Facebook. We brought up Instagram marketing in terms of using the customer list. I was just going to say for the audience, you can do the same thing on Google as well.
Yes.
So if you're using, a lot of people don't understand display advertising, which is Wall Street Journal, ESPN.com, local news station, weather channels. It's all that ad space is bought through a network. And there's a few networks out there, whether it's the Trading Desk, whether it's a DSP like Simplify or Quizio or Kinshu. We use the Google Display Network because it integrates with Google paid search. But you can actually take that list for a lot of these demand side platforms, upload it, and actually do one-to-one targeting. So when you really think about it, it's staying in front of them, reminding the customer they have a recall. And if you look at it from a CPM level, which is cost per 1,000 impressions, you're typically paying $5 per 1,000 impressions on average, maybe up to $8 depending on the sites that you're serving on. So I'd strongly encourage everyone that's listening, look digitally as well. I think Vinny hit the nail on the head. Look outside mail. Mail can get expensive. It's great to do mail if you're doing maybe an event or there's a reason, but paying, 70, 80, 90 cents a piece every single time, there's less expensive options like text, email, Facebook, Instagram, display advertising to get that message out. And if you're like Vinny and you have a landing page on your website, that's where you take them to, right? Take them to that landing page, ask them to check their vehicle if they're under a recall. And then I love that your landing page, one thing, a lot of mistakes that a lot of dealers make is where you check your recall. That's another page. To schedule service, you got to go back up to the menu, schedule service. So Vinny hit the nail on the head. Have your online scheduling tool right there, so that way it's seamless. I've checked it. Now I need to schedule it. Do most of your service, Vinny, come, like, how much of it now is the online scheduler, the chat tool versus the phone calls?
Most of our appointments is still through BDC.
Really?
Yeah, there's still a lot of them through the phone system. A lot of our customers have been through the program already with our texting program. The texting program, I pretty much have set all of service tied into it. I have my service BDC tied into it. Technicians are tied into it. So even when a customer calls through the BDC, as long as they text back to the same number that we originally communicated to them through, our BDC can pick up on it and take the conversation over. So a lot of our BDC will do that. Like right about now, they're confirming tomorrow's appointments, and they're doing it through a phone call, email, and a text.
So you do live confirmation calls with everybody the day before? Is that kind of the process?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I don't understand why not every dealership does that, and a majority of them still don't. Like that I talk to. So you're getting them to opt in for an email or text, but you're always doing that live call, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't think anything replaces, the human voice over the phone. I've had service advisors, even they get comfortable, believe it or not, trying to sell work through a text.
Right.
And I look at it. I can measure that too. I can measure which service advisors are using the program, which service advisors are not. And then sometimes I'll take that, look at hours per repair order, look to see what they're doing in their processes, and then I kind of dial in a little bit. So,
yeah, text is great for updates, right? Hey, I'll call you in 2 to 3 hours. Hey, your car's back right now getting looked at. But I agree, nothing can replace a phone call. Sandy, are you back with us? What's going on, man? The man is in a tunnel. Scott, I've done a lot of talking, buddy. What kind of questions you got for Vinny? He's given us some great suggestions and ideas.
So for you, regardless of the channel that you might you're doing some type of recall campaign, let's say. What would be the number one rule that you would recommend to other dealers or service managers to make sure that campaign runs smooth?
Follow up, constant follow up. And you can't, once you get the message out, you have to constantly follow through with it. And not just one phone call, not just two. I get the message out to the customer base that I'm targeting, and then we have to go after them. You have to constantly chase them. And that's several different avenues. It could be phone calls, text messages, emails, until you get a response. So, and it's amazing how many people eventually start to respond just the day before. So it's a constant fight, but you have to keep at it every single day.
So we do a lot of recall marketing with various OEMs. And one of the challenges the OEM has, because they're usually involved in a lot of the marketing as well, or somehow support it with co-op or whatever, but there seems to be a lot of consumers that have a recall that have become callous to the notifications. It's like it just goes in one ear. Why do you think that is?
That when a customer gets a notice of a recall,
yeah, they just ignore it.
It's amazing.
Not ours. Not our marketing. I want to be clear. Not our marketing.
Not your marketing.
Normal.
Oh, okay. So it's the OEM's marketing, right?
Yeah. But why is that though? Because there is this feeling of like, Why is it so hard to get somebody to come back in for a safety recall?
Sometimes it's the way I don't know, maybe it's the way we communicate, sending a postcard out in the mail. I don't know about you, but when I get home or if my wife gets home, I'll be honest with you, I sort my mail right in the kitchen garbage pail.
Hey,
it goes right in,
you are now you're reenacting back when we did a lot of mail.
Mhm.
We still do a lot of mail, but back when we did, it made up 100% of what we did.
Mm-hmm.
You're reenacting part of my pitch. That's exactly what I said. That's
what I do. I will just sit there and just write in the pail. And that's how a lot of the OEs communicate to the customers. So they get these letters in the mail. If somebody's not targeting you, trying to sell you an extended warranty anymore, you're getting a recall letter in the mail. So I think that just the media that's being used to communicate to people needs to change a little bit. Just like we do it digitally. I think you get a better response.
I haven't owned a car in 2 years, and I am still maybe 3 years. I am still getting calls about it's so funny with the extended warranty, and I don't even own the car. And so here's the thing. I just figured this out because normally I just hang up. If you listen to the end of the message, it allows you to opt out. And if I just done that 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been getting three years worth of calls.
Well, I want to dovetail off of something Vinny just said. He talked about, the types of medium and digital is so effective. But I think of this as an opportunity to do almost a public service announcement using social media, whether it's an IG story or an IG posted video or IGTV that you point people to. I think, quite honestly, people are more apt to watch a video and digest the information than they are maybe to open up a piece of mail and actually read it. These days, a lot of times it goes right into the round file. But imagine if you use Facebook and Instagram, to convey the message in a 59-second video, letting them know that there's a recall, safety recall on, the BMW 2018 BMW X5, and it relates to this part on your car, and here's what could happen if you don't fix it.
So the video, I think, is huge. Doing YouTube videos, something educational like that is great. Videos are a great source, a great way to do it. I'm going to go back for a minute. Those technician videos I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
We do them. Our technicians have a 92% completion rate. That means every car that goes into the bay, 92% of those get a video.
Yep.
The other 8% are typically internals that get filtered out. So out of that 92% are getting videos, our customers are opening up and watching those videos 83% of the time.
Wow, that's it. You just made the point right there.
83% of the time. And then on average, the video is about 59 seconds.
That's it.
That's the sweet spot.
That's my trademark, Vinny, the 59-second video.
That's it.
Now, Vin, are you using my Karma?
That's not your only 59-second trademark.
That's right. You shouldn't do that because that's how long it took me to foot sweep Scott and put him to the ground when I was out in Louisville. So Vin, are you using the My Karma platform for video?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a great tool.
You could not pry me away from it. Just it's a phenomenal tool. I was a pilot store years ago with another German brand, and I've never let go of it since.
Wait, there's another German brand besides BMW?
Not that compares.
There you go. We call that a softball, baby.
There you go. Toss up.
So I want to be respectful of time. We've got about just a few more minutes left. Jamil, do you have any more?
No, that's it for me, buddy. It's been awesome.
Yeah, Vinny, this has been awesome. We got pretty specific on here. When Jamil starts leading the questions, the question and answering can get very specific, which I know the audience appreciates. So we've had some good comments in here about this good forum and great stuff and great topic and stuff like that. So I think you dropped some real good gold nuggets out here that everybody can take back with them and hopefully start integrating into their own business applications.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Sandy, you want to close us out?
Yeah, actually, I want to give Vinny huge props because you know, you brought it right back to respecting the hustle, Vinny. And I love the fact, as I said to you in the beginning of D-Win today, that you swam against the current of what everybody else was doing. And that's usually where you're going to find opportunity. When everybody's looking in one direction, you're looking in the other, and you're finding that niche opportunity that delivers results. So I'm giving you the slow clap as I drive 80 miles an hour on the highway, because we do that in Jersey, baby. But I want to thank you for the time today. It was awesome. And I look forward to meeting you. I'm going to make a point to get out to your store and say hello and meet you in person.
So we'll close out like we always do. One thing that is kind of spun off of D-Win is the fourth box. We'll play our fourth box hype video to close out the show. Vinny, let me ask you, do you like bourbon and cigars?
Absolutely not.
Neither?
Talking about. I don't know what you've heard about me, but it's all right.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
We do a thing on Wednesday nights at 7:30 called the Fourth Box Live, where it's not broadcasted, it's private. So, you know, some things that are said on there, we can't get it out there. So
It stays in the box, baby.
It's a lot of 59-second comments.
yeah, so we have a good time. We usually pop open a bourbon, do a cigar. Well, it's a little cold for the cigar right now, but and then we talk business strategy, and it's a lot of fun. So we'd like to have you on there if you're up for it one time.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'll play the video, and then if you want to hang on after, we'll close it out after the video plays, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, listen, the fourth box isn't for everybody. It's only for those people that want to have fun, have a bourbon, smoke a cigar, and come up with absolutely ingenious business and brainstorming ideas.
I could do this all night long, guys.
I love to be a disruptor.
The first guy that gets that done is the winner.
You can't get any better than this. But don't worry, whatever happens in the fourth box stays in the box, baby.
This is some good shit. These notes are big.